Hi guys, welcome back. It's Siegfried here. Today we're going to do a quick look at cropping your images and the keystone function in Workspace. The cropping function you find on the menu, the editing menu here on the right. There you can see cropping. So I would normally start with cropping and then do the keystone to correct the angles here, and do the final cropping when I'm done with the keystone function. The main reason for starting with the cropping is to get the verticals right or the horizontals right. Problem or the challenge we have here, we have no waterline or something that clearly shows us the horizontal, so I'm going to work on the vertical. So I do that by selecting the crop function here, and then you do this adjustment here for the vertical. To help you see if you aligned or not, you can press this function here at the bottom left, and then you can move this vertical to the target area. So I found it better to set the vertical sort of in the center of the image, because anything to the right or the left would not give a true vertical. The most accurate one is in the middle. That gives me the angles on the sides would then be very similar, and it's easy to correct that way. So here on this slider scale here, if you press anywhere between these 2 points, it will increase by 0.5. I can do another increase, and there you can see we're getting close. Let's do a little closer there with a line, and then if you press on the plus here, it goes up by 0.1. So instead of 0.5, 0.1. I need to do another one there, and you can even do a third one, seems to me, and it seems like we are very, very close. Let's do another one just for that seems much better. And then I can, so I'm not doing the cropping right now because I want to save as much as possible real estate or space here on the sides. You will see how much it takes up when we do the keystone. So let's go back. By going back, you're accepting the settings you've just done. And then in this menu here, you find several things related to the lens and lens corrections and things like that. At the bottom, you see the keystone function. Now I've added the keystone function to my favorites menu here, and you see that also at the bottom, right at the bottom there. Now if you look at the, you can also just try, but if you look at the angles here, we can see that we need to pull the angle to the right here and to the left on this side to get a perfect angle there, or vertical. So this little symbol indicates that I'm going to pull it to the right and to the left. So let's do a 5 again, a 0.5. Or in this case, it's a pure 5, and another one. And you can see it's already correcting the image, but we need to move quite a bit onwards here. So let's go up to 40 and see what happens. Now again, I can move these lines to see where I am here. You can see I'm a little bit off still, and you will see that this center vertical makes it very close to the same angles on the side here now. So let's go another one up, because we are getting very close. Another one up, and that seems to be quite good for me. One could go another one. I'm happy with it as it is now, and I will go back to the top here and just then select the crop function and do my final cropping here. So let's cancel these lines. I want a little real estate behind the car here. We can move everything. Now, the first thing you obviously need to do before you buy the real estate is select the ratio that you want to use. Now, obviously, for this image, a 4/3 ratio would be best. You could also use the aspect ratio from the XF data on the file. Some of my cameras are set to a 3:2 ratio, and the only reason I do that is it makes it easier for me to read the full screen, or I get to read the full screen on the camera. But what is nice with Workspace, you can always correct that and then select the 4/3, for example. Now, we've done the vertical or the horizontals, so I can move. So you click and drag this box here just to the right, and it's quite to the top. I want to buy a little space here at the bottom, so I'm going to move it up. I want to keep that sort of step there, and the reason for doing that is the lights here will be on the thirds line here. So my focus is really, when editing, it will be this part of the image here. And then you can accept the crop, and then you're ready to start your editing. Whether you should crop at the start or the end, I like to crop at the start, because then any lighting adjustments or things I do is really only focused on this particular area that you see. Now, in this case, I would typically do an auto gradation. And what is interesting here is when you look at the data here, at the XF data, it's the E620 from the E series cameras from Olympus, the pre-micro 4/3 cameras. And here you can see all the functionality that was available in that camera, like the white balance setting of the camera is now all available in Workspace, like with a newer camera, which makes it really a pleasure to edit your older cameras, you know, the photos from your older cameras, because everything that we've learned with the newer cameras apply there. In fact, just as a final point, what we learn in these videos, especially about how the camera works, applies to all cameras. So the sensor is, you know, having more light exposing the sensor benefits all cameras, not only Olympus. So the camera basics that we learn here, as well as the editing basics, the difference between tonal or gamma adjustments, and the difference between brightness adjustments, the correlation to the ISO in the camera. These are generally all applicable, especially when you use editing packages from the manufacturer. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this is something that can help you. Until next time, Siegfried, bye.